among empaths, psychics, and literally people will actually begin to pick up the images of what's inside of your house and what's, yeah, oh, woo, that's power. Billions of dollars. You ready for this? This is what your ancestors practiced every single day in the pyramids. This is what the prophets, this is the power that the prophets dealt with, is learning how to attune to places other than where they're sitting at, to be able to visualize exactly where a certain injury or problem is. Not a new thing. But what has happened is our ability to do it has become less and less. And the reason why? I got you. Television. See, the more someone has, listen, everything around you is an invention. But if I clog up your mind with a bunch of words, needless songs, and needless shows all day long, your literacy, what's the evidence? Your literacy level begins to what? Drop. Your ability to comprehend certain things begin to what? Dull. That's why our ancestors only 60 years ago, 70, our grandparents, great-grandparents, right, had certain abilities that today you say, wow, we have more technology, but our ability is dulled. That's because we don't practice it. Okay? So just some ideas. I'm going to go keep going. That is why constructive visualizations are essential to our health and happiness. Come on in. In this book, you will be presented with many stories and illustrations that create positive mental pictures. I'm going to show you the book. Also, you can look up the videos, since this is the YouTube era. Happy but not happy, right? I'm going to pass this book around. This is Psycho-Pictography. This is the book where this is from. Okay. In this book, you will be presented with many stories and illustrations that create positive mental pictures. These illustrations are the means by which the truth reaches the enlightened mind. We can call these illustrations by various names: stories, examples, case histories, analogies, anecdotes, even jokes. But the purpose is single: to give the mind a constructive course of action to follow. What? To give the mind a constructive course of action to follow. That's why old biblical stories, Quranic stories, hieroglyphs, all Mayan glyphs, whatever ancient story, or modern story for that matter, but the pictures and the storyline that is given helps to give an unseen or seen quiescent pathway to help the learn, the meditator, the spiritualist, to have a way to get through the problem. That's what all of this is about. We talk about the problem of violence, problem of what? Lack of economics, problem of, well, you name it, emotional problems. We all got, and a lot of this is the language we just heard. So we no longer call them problems. We call them projects. We call them revelations. Because in each obstacle, look at that word, obstacle, whether you use a P or a B, right? Each obstacle, right, is trying to show you something. Every prophetess that ever existed, great person, female, male, them, right? The revelation came with a fight. The very fight was given to them because they already had the revelation. And the victory was not only the gift, the victory was what? The prophecy left for generations to come. So when we talk about stories, when we tell children stories, see, this thing is deep, right? When we talk about stories, comic books, cartoons, right? There's information coming through these cartoons, these images that are there for you to use as path work or as tools to get through the path. Got me? I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna get out of this. They guide the individual into doing what is necessary in order to emerge with a new life. Say, for instance, that you have a difficult decision to make. As hard as you try, you cannot make up your mind. Then you read an anecdote about someone in a similar situation. You discover how he handled it. Perhaps he gave up fighting his problem and simply relaxed from it. That action loosened his mental powers, enabling him to think in a new way and an answer to come to him. Them, right? Neutral. Not talking neutral, so nobody gets upset, please. All right. This man's success formed a mental picture in your mind, and now you have a clear impartial course to follow. Oh, thank you. We may not immediately understand a particular idea that can help us, but we can understand a mental picture that illustrates it. This is why your ancestors wrote in pictures. The name Ra, when you look at it in hieroglyphs, is not just talking about the sun. Oh, everybody says Ra, the sun. No, it don't. And when you study the name Ra in hieroglyphs, it's talking about sound and light and action and control. And that's just one hieroglyph, one word. Yes, you know how some people say Ra represents the sun, but if you look at the hieroglyph for the name Ra, there's more instructions in the name than just the sun. That's my point. So to show you how brilliant your ancestors were, they were. Say what, son? You hot? Get out the sun. Come on over here. Oh, thank you. The actual word held more information. Excuse me, the actual glyph, and that's writing in pictures. So pictures and storylines. A story about Jesus, Yeshua, Hamashiach, Haru, right? Christ. You can name all of them, all the names, right? That story became the backdrop of social revolution. The story of Jesus has become the backdrop of almost every great revolutionary that has ever existed. You can't name one. Everybody done read the story of Jesus. That's why they call a traitor a what? A Judas? So if everybody calling a traitor a Judas, then we know about what? That everybody done heard about that story. Now, we don't have to fight about whether the story is real or not real. That's a whole nother conversation. That's a religion conversation. The spiritual anecdote of the story is that you now receive from the mental pictures of that story inspiration to take on your what? To take on your journey and to be the Christ that you are here to be. Did he not teach that? Is that not what's in the scriptures? He said, and you shall do what? Greater works than I have done. What made him say that? Well, just think about what he was laying down. If you get one lion to roar, and then you keep telling stories to other lions about lions roaring, lions gonna roar, especially if they female. You got me. All right, so you got it. Y'all figured it out. That's what this is about. The stories that we tell our children from our families, and the way you tell that story to them, that gives them inspiration and path, work, knowledge to figure things out. Right? Let's speed it up. I know. They say I go too long and I get long-winded, so I'm talking fast. Here we go. Where was I? I got it. We may not immediately understand a particular idea that can help us, but we can understand a mental picture that illustrates it. So the picture becomes a sturdy bridge. It helps us to cross from the known to the unknown. It connects one level of understanding to a higher level. We ascend from a literal understanding to a psychological insight. The use of stories to convey a principle has another interesting advantage because they are pleasant to read. They're what? They're pleasant to read. See, all right, let's go into, everybody say myth. Our ancestors wrote and spoke myth on 3 different levels, maybe even 4. But one level was symbolically to the character. One level was nature, the actual principles of elements. Anthropomorphic, meaning the person's life was used as in a connection to the literal elemental shifts of nature. The literal names that were being used were coded with other symbols inside the name. And even literal, there were people who actually achieved it. Myth is a way to inspire each generation to take up the mantle of God. When you have mythos, you have when you have mythos, you have heroes. Without mythos, there is no heroes. Every prophet came from another prophet. Because he heard, she heard, they heard another prophet. When you take a people's mythos from them, their sense of character. See, all cartoons, that's why children love cartoons, because cartoons give the world of the ancestors, the world where the spirit and the mind can be free to travel in creativity. Now imagine if you're sitting at your table and you draw a picture of yourself with money in your hand, draw a picture of yourself feeling good, right? Or even if you just write your name down and connect it to it with a simple symbol saying, I got it, right? That's magic. It says in the book, okay, y'all don't mind if I'm a Bible guy, right? In the book of Habakkuk, it says, write it down on what? Who remember this scripture? You hearing me out there? Give thanks. Who remember the scripture, okay? It's nothing wrong with going back to the old. See, the old magic is where the old spirituality is where the magic is at. I tell y'all that. In the book of Habakkuk, write it down on with the vision. Tarry on the vision for a moment. And then after you tarry upon the vision, write the vision down upon tablets. Then pray over it non-ceasingly until the Lord answers it. And in its due time, the vision will be answered. Oh, yes. So life is a series of what? Projections. You see how many people that came out of movie theaters hyped up? Don't tell me that. Come on, y'all. They seen Juice and Cats came out the movie. They became DJs overnight. Listen, I gotta. Right. Okay, I gotta go with one more movie. You know, I gotta take metaphysics to make it funky. If not, it don't hold no weight. Name a movie you love. I'm Prince. I'm dragging. Y'all know who I am. I'm Bruce Leroy. I'm the Last Dragon. You know, that's my favorite movie. That's my power movie. There's a series of movies we call power movies. And in the world of spirituality and science, they call it cinema therapy. Psychologists use cinema therapy to help their patients. So they ask them to find your power movie, meaning a movie that speaks to you in such a way that it elicits emotional change of thought. Thank you. Y'all making me feel good today. I need this. So same thing goes for, that's why your ancestors, when they wrote the scriptures, cinema therapy, that is a technique used by psychologists and psychiatrists. Cinema therapy. But all those texts on the walls of the pyramid come with songs and music. The book of Psalms and Proverbs, since I got the time to talk about it, and I'm at Black and Novell, comes from the pyramids. The largest book in the Bible is the book of Psalms, correct? Oh, you learned it today. That's all music. So imagine now you're reading it. Now you're starting to see it and you singing it. Now we're going to go back 4,000 years. Now imagine 500 people, 600,000 people on a battlefield singing it and seeing it. Now imagine your ancestors being taken from that same powerful knowledge, and you put them on a field. They still can sing it and they can still see it. But now the song doesn't change. The song is, take me out of this. And it happened. And it happened. So what I'm showing you is that visualization, your dream work, please listen to me. Your dream work is what creates life on earth. All life on earth is the product of thought and vision. That's why I said, as a man, a woman, thinketh in their heart, so are they. So the more you give to your dreams, the more you actually produce reality. Okay, let's play a game. Y'all want to do this by game? You want to see how powerful this is? Name your favorite song. I'm going to go around to each person. Watch how this happens. You'll be able to understand this very well. Name your favorite song. Any song you love. It don't matter how vulgar, how nasty. I'm getting away from that for a minute. Huh? I Shall Wear a Crown. Who is it by? It's a hymn, right? When you hear it, how do you feel? How many times will you play it? Huh? You'll sing it? Okay. Other than singing it, how many times will you sing it and how many times will you play it? Good. And here's why. It's called building the bridge. It's called building a auric field. The more you say a certain thing and the more you sing a certain thing, the more you visualize a certain thing, that particular energy as it goes around, okay, I'm going into science right now, as any thought or energy vibrates over and over again, pass this one to him, he needs one. As anything vibrates over and over again, it speeds up and gets faster and faster. And you do it every single day. What you're starting to do is you're starting to create a field. You're creating an energy field. You are creating an actual rhythm. When you create a rhythm, a field, and emotion over and over again, you are now creating a tone. Once you create a tone, you create a feeling. Once you create a feeling, you're creating a reaction. Once you create a reaction, you are creating what? A circumstance. Once you create a circumstance, you're creating an issue, a life. That's the secret. That's why they say chant without stopping. You know, you go into church and they say this is invocation, right? Or when you go into Islam, I've talked about this in other classes, it's about zikr, and you're saying that every day and you're dressing in it, you're thinking in it, you're eating in it, you're feeling in it every single day on the hour, the rhythm, I got you, right? That is creating a reality. That's creating a field. Thank you. That's why I said that's why you're the projector. So now you're creating an energy field. Once you create that field, everything connected to that field, everything connected to that energy will intersect and interact with you, either moving towards you or you moving towards it. So just imagine, y'all want to, and Shay going to take it to the next level. Oh no, I'm not picking that up now. Oh no, that's not fair. Excuse me. You're not on my phone, are you? Oh. Once you create that field, you're now producing a reality. Once you're producing a reality, you're now dealing with manifestation. Most people don't realize you can create paradise or you can produce hell. And a lot of times we subconsciously don't know that we're producing hell. I know everybody wanted me to say paradise, right? No. And guess what? That's also a periodical thing also, because hell is nothing but what? Y'all ready? Not only the other side of the coin, it's a process to heaven. Why you think it's fire? And what does fire do to gold? Thank you. It's a process. That's why they said all the great ones walk through what? Fire. Thank you. All of them. I don't care what religion. You can go to any religion. You can go to any mythos you want. They all walk through some type of fire. The fire represents the chaos of life. What was the key that they gave us? It's inside the package. I said I don't want to overread, because if I overread, then I'm not giving you everything. So I'm going to get to the end. The key is to change how you see yourself and to live in it every single day. Okay, you want an example? Let's see. Everybody born in the 60s. I know there's some people born in the 60s in here, or 70s, right? We'll go 60s, 70s, and we'll do 80s. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because hip-hop music, there was the fashion, there's the sound, there's the art, and then what else? What else is there? It's the state of mind. Now, if you put all three together, your sense of fashion, that means your style, the idea that you're walking in, the music that you're listening to, the state of mind that you're in, and the projection. And you're doing it every single day, every second. You are creating a new character and being. That's why in the book of James it says, at the tip of the tongue lives what? Life and death. So you have the power to project yourself to be exactly who you want to be. That was the science of the prophets. That they taught all of their students, besides just moral obligation, is that how you can beautifully live in moral obligation and be the gods and goddesses. Did you say gods and goddesses? Yes. Book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 6. I have said, ye are gods and children of the Most High, but ye shall die like mere men. How long will you sit in slumber and let others rule the earth? Oh, arise, ye gods, and judge the earth, and save the. Oh, wait, it's deeper. If you read on further, and save the fatherless. What's the issue with the fatherless? They don't have an identity. The fatherless children have a problem. Other people give them what? Identity. Mom tries to teach. Mom tries, and she does a beyond a good job. I think good job is beneath what we say what our women do, right? But there's still a problem. You can't run from it. Identity. And guess what? The reason why we're having a problem with identity is no one wants to teach the truth. And one of the number one people who are supposed to teach the truth are what? Fathers. So it's not just gods, but it's what also goddess. Because what happens when the truth wants to speak, but there's no one to hold it? Oh yes, there's a war going on earth. Oh no, that has nothing to do with righteousness. That has nothing to do with nature. No, what we're stuck on is the fact that if I brutalize you and teach you false toxic masculine ideology and do it for 400, 500 years, and then you want to see something different. Oh, see, that's the problem. Think about it. Think about what I'm saying. Think about what I'm saying. I know exactly where you're coming from. We have male chauvinism in the world, right? No, but what a lot of the toxicity comes down to disbalance between male and female energy, right? So let's deal with it really what it is. It's male chauvinism. And a lot of it does not come from your culture. It don't come from your genetic line. It comes from somebody else, and you got to cultivate it into yours. Black men and black, hear me out. Black men and black women naturally, if you sat them in the room and told them deal with their problems without the world getting involved, y'all be crying on the floor with each other. Soon as I take y'all out of that isolation room and y'all start dealing with the world and what this is and what that is, y'all start bickering with each other. You know why? Because the world got this for her and the world got that for him. The world going to build him up to be that chauvinist. The world builds you up to be what? The slickest woman in the world. It's not us. It's not your culture. That's what I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying that's another part of this whole practice. Get into your culture. Does your culture teach you to look down on the female principle? It doesn't. Their culture teaches it. Right. That's where that's where we talk about what did I just say about the gods and goddesses? It's their job to what? Lift up the what? Fatherless. What happens in the world when nobody's helping the fatherless? Thank you. And you know what? And not only will they be unsupervised, they'll take on the mind state of what already what exists. Now you want to hear the deep part about it is how sick it is when you try to actually be one. How sick it is when you actually try to speak the truth. Oh, there's $1 million for a man who can buy women and beat them up in the hallway and drag them around in the hall. I guess how much $1 million I got when I'm saving men and women and people from diseases, and it ain't even me. All right. So you understand? I'm getting beat down. Got to find rent. Yeah, you understand where I'm coming from? You don't see where I'm coming from. In other words, men who are of value, and women for that matter, people in general. But let's just talk about male gender, female gender, just for a minute. Male gender who's about something good is not respected on earth. That's why they killed Christ. Since y'all want to talk about stories, that story fits it perfectly. When they wanted to kill the prostitute, the man jumped up and said, "Which one of y'all is without sin?" They said, okay, well, I guess we'll all sit down. The other question should have been, well, why y'all all want to hurt a woman that y'all all found comfort in? See, again, but when you stand up for something, and especially if you're a black man, and I'm glad that story works, Jesus. But so we wanted to talk about that male who just get beat down, right? Because every black man got to do something bad towards some woman somewhere. Movies make black men look like killers, and black women are harlots, and sometimes they can be killers too, right? That's well, see, that's the other side of the killer. It's a coward, right? There's both. It's a game. It's neither. But that's my point. When we talk about visualization and self-image, if you want to talk about gaining wealth, all you got to do is put on the suit that belongs to you and wear it every day, rock it every day, speak it every day, eat it every day, to the point where when everybody see you, they're going to say, "Sister, hey, you doing my work for me. Thank you." You're doing my work. That's my point. But see, the other side of that work, if you see somebody doing positive, a brother or a sister or anyone for that matter, for you, but let's keep it in the circle family. If you see a sister or brother, them doing something cool, big them up. Because we live in a world that gives a lot of big ups to negatives. We don't live in a world that gives a lot of big up to positives. So again, if we did more, listen, if Hollywood was to put positive male images right now and made it the #1 fashion statement right now, you will see so many black men doing something positive on the regular, it'll blow your mind. But that's because they made it. Oh, here go that word. No, but not only that, here's a word, y'all. See, this is Bibles. We going codes. And God fashioned and shaped them into what they want. Fashion. There's always someone trying to put you in their images. Fashion. 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 Clothes. Thug. It's all fashion. And fashion deals with self-image. As a man, woman, they think in their heart, so are they. This is where the beauty comes in. Black people create culture. So if you're the one that create culture and you create so much culture that in fact you influence the minds of the people who once made you a Negro and colored and coon, then there's no excuse for you anymore. The truth of the matter is it's just about you staying in principle. I'll say it one more time. If you're the one that's creating the fashion that your own oppressor and his children will embrace, and who's following their inventions? The English language ain't never sound so beautiful until we spoke it. Alexander Dumas made Russian and all that culture become a culture. Before Alexander Dumas and all the rest of them, Three Musketeers, nobody was paying their culture any mind. Black people touch anything and it becomes gold because you are gold. That's what the word Nubian means, gold. So see, again, it's not off the topic. We're gonna get back on topic. Self-image. Self-image is what produces life on earth. Christ didn't walk around seeing himself as a weakling. Not at all. Knew he had prophecy since birth. And when that prophecy built up to a certain point, he said, I need direction. He went to his cousin. Who was his cousin? John the Baptist. Come on. John the Baptist dunked him in water. Said, get yourself right. Put him up in the mountain. Stayed up there for 40 days and 40 nights. Devil came to him. The devil came to him? That's funny. That wasn't the devil. When I tell you who it was, it's really going to make you angry. It was him. I know some people get angry about that if I tell them that was Christ. Well, I'm about to tell you. Well, no, I'm going to tell you the reality of it. That's why, okay, on the hieroglyphs, there's a symbol of Haru and Set, and he says, "Devil, get behind me." And in the hieroglyph, it shows Haru with Set behind him. Now, in the story, Yeshua, Christ, Haru, Jesus, says to him, he asks him, he says, "By what means do you do this prophecy, this work, this ministry work, when I can give you all of Jerusalem? Come on and join me. Good fun, power, dignity, and power in Galilee, in Jerusalem. You don't have to do this walking around in the wilderness talking to people in the cities. That's stupid." What happened to his reputation? It became, oh, what would have happened is we wouldn't even be having the story. And the story is even older than the person who wrote the story down the first time. So anyway, I'm going to keep it real brief because I don't want to blow no more circuits. But here's the deep part about the circuit. People forget Christ was a what? Symbolically meaning he fixed the insides, not the outside. Symbolically meaning I build up the temple inside, not the outside. Right. But here's the other part. If this man already had the power to do what he had to do, look what he did. He said, "I'm going to stay on the path my father laid down. Man don't live by bread alone." So in other words, he wasn't fighting nobody outside of himself. He's fighting himself, which is why they say in the story, Christ was on the mountain what? Fasting. What happens when a human being fasts? The parasites come out of you. In the ancient world, what were parasites called? Demons. Welcome to the world of science, guys. It gets very beautiful. See? It's beautiful when you can let your mind free. Yes. So, parasite, creature or something that lives off of another, right? But there's something very interesting about Christ and his story. No one else seen him as the Son of God. But he always, some people did, but mostly, who said he didn't even say it out loud. He just what? Walked in it and believed in it and stepped in it and repped in it, and it was. And that's the point I'm saying about visualization. And I'm going to let Shay do the last part of this because I don't want to take away from the meditation. But I say this to you. Do a visualization for yourself. See yourself